Fox Sports.
Oh, what a beautiful sight that is. The tarp being rolled off, the grounds crew getting the field ready, the Marlins and the Brewers ready to start Game 4 of this 4-game series. The hardest working tarp crew in baseball. This game will start at approximately 7:20. Set your daytimers, Blackberries, iPhones accordingly. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Marlins and Brewers, it sounds simple. You know, game is delayed by rain. Marlins will start at 20 minutes late, but you have to be very careful with this because this is a Josh Johnson start for the Fish.
There's a lot that goes into a decision in a game like this one tonight. First off, it starts with Josh Johnson, and secondly, you have the series opening up in New York tomorrow night against the Mets, who he has pitched so well against. If you decide to start this game, the Marlins certainly have. It's going to start at 7:20. You hope that the weather stays clear and you can get JJ for as long as he can go tonight, hopefully a complete game. The worst-case scenario is it rains come again, you get 3 innings out of Josh Johnson, you lose him, you don't get him against the Mets. That's bad news. So hopefully rains stay away for about 3 or 4 hours and we get this one in.
Okay, let's talk about the Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers, we told you in the outset, are a very good offensive team, and they've proven it in this series. The Brewers have hit the ball well. They obviously haven't pitched well until Giovanni Gallardo last night.
They have a good lineup. We've talked about that in the first 3 games of this series. You got a guy like Ryan Braun, who's right up in the top 5 in batting average. He got 17 doubles this year. And then you have Chris Capuano. He's not pitched a Major League game since September of 2007. And another interesting thing about this game with the rain, here's a guy coming back from Tommy John surgery as well. And slider, had the changeup, had that moving fastball. He did a terrific job. There was just one error in the game. It was an unearned run, and that was the only run the Philadelphia Phillies would score that night.
And Josh Johnson going for the Fish, and as you noted, Chris Capuano for the Brewers. Now, we've talked about his Tommy John surgeries, 2 of them. He's the type of pitcher that has given the Marlins fits in their past. He's a crafty, soft-throwing lefty with a very good move to first.
Yeah, and he has his velocity back where it should be. Little cutter, good changeup, and an excellent move to first. You're right about his type of pitcher, though.
You want excellence?
Yeah.
I'll give you excellence. There's Chris Capuano. There's Josh Johnson. We got Fish. We got Brewers. We got the hottest hitter on the planet coming up. And it's not Jorge Cantu, and it's not Ryan Braun. It's Garrett Wibbles. Frank Fort goes down to investigate the longest hit streak in baseball. He's coming up. the Marlins get set to go with the Milwaukee Brewers. Rain delay, just a little one. We're going to start this thing at 7:20, and we start our night tonight out in left field with Craig and Niner. Gentlemen.
Hey, thank you very much, Rich. What a great story going on and down in Miami. We're going to get to in just a moment on the hitting streak in the college level. But hitting streaks are such a difficult. What was the longest one you had in your career? Did you hit the 20-game mark?
No, I think it was close? Like 16, 17 games is my longest.
And it's just such a tough thing to do, to get it past 20 games. And you must marvel when you think of Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak.
I think there's a couple records in baseball that might never be challenged. Cal Ripken's consecutive games played streak, and Mr. DiMaggio's 56 in a row at the major league level is just it's remarkable. Not only what you have to do on a day in and day out basis. I mean, it's not hitting a slump for 2 months. And I heard he did not get a hit in the 57th game and went on 14 more after that.
That's right. He had 14 more, and of course, fitting DiMaggio. Conine, as Jeff has done so much work with the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital here in South Florida, including your terrific golf tournament, which also raises lots of money for that cause. In Marlins history, Luis Castillo, 2002. What a great moment that was. Night after night, I had a chance to talk to Luis after he's getting big hits and extending streaks. Some of them in the latter innings as well. He used his speed very often to get hits, and he ran up a 35-game hit streak, top 10 in baseball history.
Well, it helps when you're a speed guy like that and you're not hitting the ball right on the nose. You can get those infield hits or bunt hits for that matter. And Louis hitting from the left side was definitely a speed burner back then, and it was an exciting thing to keep track of and watch.
Oh, it was a great time for the Marlins and Marlin fans as Luis Castillo had that hit streak. Though in the college baseball now, the big story, and it's a great one for FIU, it really gives them just a great storyline heading into their regional at the University of Miami at Coral Gables this weekend. Garrett Whittles is the guy we're talking about. You've seen some stories probably on him. His hit streak is up to an astounding 54 games, and even though they use those aluminum bats, that's still only 4 shy of Robin Ventura's all-time collegiate mark of 58 games. So he's got a shot to come close, and if they can advance to the Super Regional, he will have a shot to at least tie or break that record this year. By the way, it does carry over. So if he still hits and they wound up only playing 2 games, he gets a shot next year. Amazing, huh?
I was in college at UCLA when Robin Ventura was in the midst of his streak, which was the talk of all of collegiate baseball, of course. But when you look at 54 games, I don't care if you hit aluminum bat or wood bat or whatever, ceramic bat, whatever kind of bat you're using. Yeah. This is unbelievable. It's just a remarkable feat, and I hope he gets it.
He's had a hit in every game this year from game 1 on. And Frank Fort went down to FIU to catch up with Garrett Whittles, who's getting ready for a big weekend with his club.
It's the streak that has baseball people across the country talking. FIU shortstop Garrett Whittles has hit in every game he's played this season. 54 in a row, second longest streak in NCAA history, behind Robin Ventura's 58. Impressive, but so is a guy who hit .246 last season in 30 starts, now hitting .412 through the regular season and Sun Belt Conference tournament.
Well, the biggest thing really is the mental approach that I've taken this year. I really try not to think about all the little things and sweat the not worry about the outcome, but just trying to hit the ball hard, and hits are going to come, and they are coming. I try to do anything my team needs me to do, sack, bunt, hit and run, get hits at times, make plays, play pitch. Anything that happens, that's the biggest thing also. I try not to, the hitting streak is in the back of my head, but I don't really think about it much because all you're really thinking about is winning games at this time in the year.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to be able to do something like that, but obviously, just like anything else, it takes some luck somewhere along the way. And having gotten 7 for 7 in last at-bat hits, that's pretty amazing type of thing, too, because he doesn't really let the pressure bother him whatsoever.
A graduate of Miami's Dr. Kropp High School, Whittle's streak has brought national attention to the Golden Panthers, who reached the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2002, and his teammates are enjoying the ride.
Like, every time he gets a hit, our whole team goes crazy. It's like we get the hit. It's like when he doesn't get a hit in his first 2 at-bats, you can just feel the tension between all of us. It's like it's not even him. It's just we're more worried than he is sometimes. It's like he gets up there, he's having fun, he's just laughing and everything.
You know, it's awesome because we started out in the fall in August, and we all know each other from when we were little. We all grew up in Miami together and stuff, and and we all become real close as a team and as players. And see one of us do so well it's such a good feeling for all of us, because we all know how hard he works, and he deserves it so much, man. He worked his tail off, and he's an unbelievable guy.
Now, although we've heard from Garrett, he hasn't talked about the streak directly, and that's because I took a poll amongst our TV crew. Well, Rich and Tommy, along with our producer John Salser, are a little bit nervous about us being the jinxes to that streak. So here's what we're going to do. Once the FIU season and or the streak is over, Garrett's going to come up to Sun Life Stadium and visit with us on Marlins Live. Until then, stay hot, young man. At FIU, I'm Frank Fort.
Yeah, and this is a sport of superstitions. Here's a look at the Coral Gables Regional, and the Marlins are leaving town after tonight's game, but you can still see some great baseball, college style, this weekend. Go down to Marklight Stadium, Alex Rodriguez Park at Marklight Field this weekend. Dartmouth is the number 4 seed out of the Ivy League. Miami is the number 1 seed. Number 3, Jim Morris's club at 40-17. FIU, great story, the 3rd seed in Texas A&M, the Big 12 Conference, 40-19-1, double elimination. Winner will advance to the Super Regionals. And they'll have action starting tomorrow night, and it runs, I think it could go, in fact, all the way until Monday to get a champion in there. Should be fun. I enjoy college baseball. It's a different game, but as we've seen, so many stars. Look at this series alone. You've got 2 guys from the Canes in Gabby Sanchez for the Marlins playing against his former roommate Ryan Braun, who's become quickly one of the stars in the National League.
I think, over the years, it used to be kind of a mix of, you're talking about the draft starting next Monday, it used to be a mix of high school players and college players. I think more are leaning toward the college player now because the college baseball ranks have become so competitive. They're getting such great training. Yeah. They figure that they make that commitment in those college programs to do what they do. They're going to be a better seasoned athlete when they come out of those programs to make the step into Major League Ball.
Was it an easy decision for you?
Yeah, I was a pitcher in college. Of course it was an easy decision for me. What was I losing? They said, here, let's try you as a position player. If it doesn't work, I'll go back to school. So yeah, and it was easy for me.
And it worked out all right.
Worked out all right.
For the old right-hander. Chris Capuano, speaking of pitchers, Niner, what is he feeling right now? Here's a guy who's overcome Tommy John in 2002. He had a respectable Major League career. And then he had Tommy John again after getting injured in spring training in 2008. 2 months later, he had Tommy John again. And Chris Capuano talks about pitching here tonight.
I think maybe the story sounds, maybe a little bigger from outside. On the inside, for me, it was just a simple act of just going day by day. And before I knew it, I was at the point where I was throwing in games again. And, I had a lot of other good things going on in my life over that time that kind of made that time go by quick for me and enjoyable. So for me, it was just kind of, keeping my head down and just having a plan of attack, that I mapped out for myself and just kind of sticking to it every day. And just doing that ended up getting me healthy.
All right, a slight delay here, but we're going to start in less than 10 minutes. 7:20 start tonight for Game 4 of the series between the Marlins and the Brewers. We'll set you up for it when we return.
Florida is brought to you by Checkers, Little Place, Big Taste. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. By Toyota, moving forward. By AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. Sun Life Stadium, there is some sun and there is some life. Rain delay, it rained all afternoon. Neither team took batting practice, but the tarps came off in the bullpen about 20 minutes ago, which is a sure sign that this game is going to start. That means the starting pitchers are heating up, and certainly the Marlins and the Brewers wouldn't do that if we didn't know baseball was imminent. So, JJ's getting ready. There's a look at Chris Capuano, the Duke University product. The lefty has made his way back to the big leagues. The last time he pitched in a big league ball game was all the way back in 2007. You just heard from him, and Tommy, he downplayed the whole, 2 Tommy John surgeries and all of the physical things. He also had a shoulder surgery as well. But for Capuano, the road back looks like it's been a rather smooth one now that he's pitching.
Yeah, you look at his 7 games that he started in the minor leagues. He had 3 of those starts in high A, and then the other 4 were in triple A. So good numbers, and the word is that his velocity's near where it once was. He's not an overpowering guy, he never was, but he was an 18-game winner back in 2005. A very good pitcher who knows how to pitch, knows how to change speeds, cuts his fastball. His changeup is a very good one, and he has one of the best moves to first base of any left-hander.
Oh, Tommy, I forgot to give you this. It's your itinerary for the road trip. First, we need a little road trip music.
Let me have the itinerary.
All right, we're headed to New York tonight. Actually, we'll get there early in the morning, and when we get there, the Mets will be waiting. The Mets and the Marlins will play a 3-game series. Oh, Tommy, did I tell you the Marlins are going to run into Roy Halladay again? This could be a J.J. Halladay matchup next Wednesday.
That will be outstanding. Hey, we'll get to see the Fanatic, too. And then where do we go, Rich?
We see Raymond and the Rays. We're going to St. Pete to see the best team in baseball right now, the Tampa Bay Rays, a 3-game series. The Marlins and the Brewers getting ready here. Here's what's going on in the National League East. The Washington Nationals today, a comeback win. They are 6 back in the National League East. The Mets, the Marlins, both at 27-27, and the Phillies, 28-24. Atlanta at 31-22. So there's a look at the East. My bad, the Nats did lose. That's why they're 6 back.
Well, they actually went ahead and then lost it in the bottom of the 9th inning.
See, I conceded once I saw Matt Lindstrom blow the save.
Yeah, Matt Lindstrom blew the save, gave up 2 runs. Nationals went ahead, and wouldn't you know, the Houston Astros came back and won that game.
I made the adjustment on my standing sheet after seeing
It's all about adjustments, Rich.
All right, it's all about the men in blue, and not only the umpires, but also the Brewers. Here they come in this order. Ricky Weeks is at second base. Craig Counsell gets a start at third base. Ryan Braun in left. Prince Fielder's hit 2 homers in this series. He's played every game this season. He's got the longest active games streak in Major League Baseball right now. Corey Hart, Carlos Gomez was a pain in the neck last night. Alcides Escobar, Jonathan Lucroy will do the catching, and Chris Capuano will do the pitching. And JJ making his way in from the bullpen. The last time he pitched, Tommy, and many people forget that it was JJ, because Roy Halladay certainly stole the spotlight. It was a terrific game, obviously, since it was a perfect game. But for Josh Johnson, it was 7 innings without an earned run.
It was, as we talked about at the time, kind of an unusual game because he held the big guys, Utley, Howard, Worth, Ibanez. None of them had hits off Josh Johnson. Juan Castro had a couple of hits. Carlos Ruiz, 2 hits. Valdez, the shortstop, had 2 hits and actually scored that 1 run. And Valdez was on base. JJ made a real good pitch to Chase Utley. Utley flicked it out into center. Look at how Cameron came in. He misplayed it. The ball went off his glove. That was the only run of the game. Came in to score on this error by Cameron Maybin. And obviously, we know the rest is history with Roy Halladay going on and pitching a perfect game.
Yeah, a side note to that history,
JJ had a streak of 18 consecutive scoreless innings going into that game. So he got to 20, and then the unearned run happened in the third inning. However, since he went 7 innings without an earned run, he's gone 25 innings without an earned run.
Well, he has faced the Brewers before. JJ's 2-0 with a nice 3.55 ERA and 4 career starts against Milwaukee. Last year, he pitched against the Brewers right here in this ballpark and went 7 2/3, gave up 5 hits and 2 runs. So you look at his overall numbers, they are all-star worthy. The opponent's batting just 206, but I think the thing that stands out to me, that's overall. Left-handers are hitting just 144 against Josh Johnson this year. So trying to pick up win number 6 tonight.
Marlins defensively tonight.
Here's how it sets up. We'll give you the inside on the defense with Coughlin. Cody Ross moves to center. Brett Carroll with the start tonight in right field. Gabby and Dan Uggla over on the right side. Hanley and Cantu and Ronnie Paulino back behind the plate once again.
Our weather report tonight, and certainly everybody was looking at radar screens and all of that about an hour ago. You see the high humidity, and rain is possible, and that's certainly not something that either the Brewers or the Marlins want to see. Both of these teams have to fly out for games tomorrow night. The Brewers are headed to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals tomorrow night. As we told you, the Marlins are taking on the Mets. Ken Maka, the skipper of the Brewers. One thing has stood out in this series to me. A little curious to see what type of team the Brewers were coming into this series because their record wasn't all that good. This is a very good offensive team. There's no disputing that. They are in the top of just about every category offensively in the National League.
We were also curious to see if Ken Maka would have his pitcher hitting in the 8th spot, but one of the reasons he did that last night, he gave us a few, but one of them was because Gallardo swings the bat so well. That paid off.
Yeah, it did. The home run against Taylor Tankersley. Ricky Weeks, Craig Counsell, Ryan Braun. So let's get this thing started. Let's see how JJ fares tonight against a good offensive team, the Milwaukee Brewers. First pitch runs inside. Eric Cooper is calling balls and strikes. Bill Miller, Chad Fairchild, and Mike Riley are on the bases. Weeks fouls it back to the screen. Ricky has 3 hits in this series. He's not your prototypical leadoff guy. He's a leadoff guy who can knock it out of the park. The Marlins have seen a couple of those on this homestand. Shane Victorino, one of the top RBI men for the Phillies, 8 home runs as well.
He's also a leadoff guy who strikes out a lot. Ricky Weeks leads the Brewers with 66 strikeouts.
One and 2 the count. Yeah, Counsell getting the start at third base. Casey McGee, their big RBI man, is getting the night off. And JJ backs him up on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. There are your strikeout leaders. Will Venable making that list. Reynolds and Upton have been atop that list almost the entire season. Same with Wright. He's been in third place throughout the year.
A couple of times this year in some of his starts, early on, Josh gets himself in a little trouble with pitch count. And a lot of it with him is getting into the flow, into a nice rhythm of the game.
Weeks doing his part for the Brewers by making JJ throw a lot of pitches here. The count's 3 and 2. Paulino wanted what looked like almost a cut fastball or a two-seamer that really dove.
I'll tell you what, if it was a slider, it was 91 miles an hour. I don't think it was, but that ball had terrific movement taking it away from Weeks, and it was 91 miles an hour.
Well, Ronnie put 3 fingers down, which is usually a changeup, but that wasn't a changeup at 91. Here is Counsell.
Craig Counsell getting his first start in this series.
Always good to see Craig Counsell, the guy who had a starring role in a big part of Marlins history, a starring role in a big part of 2 World Series championships with the Marlins and the Arizona Diamondbacks. JJ looks a little puzzled as to where that one missed. And it's 2-0. Heart of the plate, and it's 2-1. Brewers, a ball club coming in at 22-31. At the knees.
JJ getting that low strike. Counsell didn't think it was a strike, but all of a sudden the count evens at 2-2. And it did just catch that lower portion of the plate.
And you could see pitch 2. The second ball did miss to Counsell. Nasty.
That's that same pitch. That one was 92. It almost darts inside like a slider, but it's a cutter. This ball just cuts inside hard. That'll saw off some bats tonight.
Not only hard, but down and hard.
And as we know, Craig Counsell, not an easy guy to strike out.
Ryan Braun climbs in. Braun has had a busy series. He was 1 for 5 last night. He has a hit in every game. And he's the leading vote getter among National League outfielders for the All-Star game. And so life is good right now for Ryan Braun.
And he got to revisit a little bit with his college roommate, Gabby Sanchez.
Nice. The Brawny guy, though, on that poster looks more Ron Say than Ryan Braun. 0-2 coming. So it's 1-2.
There you mentioned all the hits. Ryan Braun second in the league in hits. Martin Prado leading the National League with 72 base hits.
Braun's got Fielder behind him. And JJ bounces one up there. Well, Braun's among a lot of the category leaders in the National League. Road batting average, total bases. As you noted, he's second in hits. JJ among league leaders as well for pitchers. That one shot foul.
How about that one being 98 miles an hour, that last fastball?
JJ's ERA right now 2.19, sixth in the National League. National League is stacked with some very good starting pitching right now.
There was a changeup. It's interesting when you look at both leagues. The batting average leader in the National League is Martin Prado at 324. When you look into the American League, they've got Cano at 373, Justin Morneau 372, Miguel Cabrera 351. Ichiro's fourth, and he's hitting 343.
Josh Johnson strikes out 3 Milwaukee Brewers to open this ball game. Weeks, Counsell, Braun. Bottom of the first coming up. We are scoreless.
disponible en español oprimiendo el botón del zap.
Fish and beer makers tonight. It's a nice combination. Chris Coughlin has had a terrific series. 8 hits in this series. Gabby Sanchez at first, Hanley's at short, Corey Cantu at third, Dan Ugla, Cody Ross, Ronnie Paulino. I know it's been a while since he's seen Chris Capuano in a uniform, but when he saw him back in 06, 07, he hit him well. Brett Carroll gets a start in right. Josh Johnson hits ninth.
Well, what you'd like to see, Rich, is the fish batter the beer. And beer battered fish is, every once in a while not too bad. You fry it. But there's Chris Capuano, happy to be back here. We talked about his last start at the Major League level, September 28th, 2007.
Coughlin stands in. And Chris takes a fastball for a strike.
You're going to see a whole lot of difference in the velocity in these two pitchers.
The last time Chris Capuano started a Major League game, Chris Coughlin was just starting his first full season in the minor leagues. He was a 2006 draft pick. Short season from there, and then a full season in 07. And Capuano returns with some gusto. As long as we're throwing beer analogies around.
Yeah, he followed the scouting report, too. There's Ryan Braun, Carlos Gomez, Corey Hart in that Brewer outfield. Counsell and fielder Craig Counsell has started 11 games this year, so his 12th start. Escobar and Weeks up the middle, and Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. First start for Lucroy in this one.
Not related to Matthew Lecroy.
Nah, not related.
The former Minnesota Twin.
One of our favorites.
Yes. Here's Gabby now. See his 3 hits, including a triple in this series. He fouls that one back into the seats. Capuano out of Duke. There aren't a whole lot of major leaguers from Duke. I went down the list, found Chris Capuano, Quentin McCracken, Greg Burke, Scott Schoenweiss. Maybe the most famous Duke baseball player, Dick Grote. That ball's going to get to the wall. Let's see if Gabby's got enough speed to get 2. Here comes the throw from Braun, and he gets there with a head-first slide. Nicely done.
Well, this ball was smoked. It looked like off speed, maybe the changeup of Capuano, and Gabby just jumps on it. There it is. It hangs high. It's our checkers double of the game. And Ryan Braun trying to throw out his old roommate, but Gabby beats it. And Gabby Sanchez now with 14 doubles on the year.
As we learned in JJ's last start, runs when he starts can be at a real premium.
He's just happy to see his teammates get on base right now.
Hanley against Capuano. Since he hasn't pitched, Tommy, since 07 in the big leagues, how much do you make of the matchup numbers? Because there are some Marlins, Hanley included, that have not hit him well. I mean, Hanley's 0 for 9 in his career.
I don't think you make much of it because it's been so long.
Certainly those young Marlins from 07, and they saw him in 06, are a little bit different at the plate.
You talked about Capuano at Duke. He did more than just pitch there. He went to class.
Yes.
He's a Phi Beta Kappa. And an economics degree for Chris Capuano. So a smart pitcher out there.
He was drafted by Arizona and then traded to Milwaukee. And he had a huge year in 2005. He was 18-12 and an ERA of 3.99 for a team that finished under 500. The other number from that season, and it's something to think about tonight, is he picked off 12 runners in 2005. He has one of baseball's best pickoff moves. When we were in Chicago, we saw the numbers on Mark Burley. If Capuano had been healthy for the last 3 years, his numbers would be Burley-like.
They'd be right there with Burley's.
Not Bronny, but Burley. 2-1. in the dirt, and it kicks away from Lucroy. It rolls towards the dugout. And Sanchez is he gets one base. Did he get to third before it rolled out? That may be the argument that Freddie Gonzalez is presenting to the home plate umpire. You get one base when it rolls out of play, and it's the base you are headed towards.
But if you've got the third base, then that one base would be home. So that's what Freddie's trying to get out of home plate umpire Eric Cooper. He's also telling Eric Cooper, hey, ask third base umpire Mike Riley. Ask him for a little help.
Nicely handled. Also, Bill Miller, the first base. All the umpires are going to get together right now, and I think, obviously, this is a good thing. They all want to get the call right.
And Mike Riley, by the way, is the crew chief, the veteran umpire of this group, who we talked about last night. We thought they did a fine job.
I think what they're saying is, had he touched it after Gabby got to third, let's take a look. Well, he touched it, and then he went out of play.
And Gabby was at third.
Yes, he was.
Watch.
So the umpires all got together. The infield's going to creep in now. Hanley is sitting on a 3-1 count, and Gabby is 90 feet away. And he pops it up. Counsell makes the catch. Well, it's going to be up to Jorge Cantu to get this run across.
And just seeing that play and seeing the umpires get together, it makes you think about last night in Detroit and all the talk of instant replay. What are you going to instant replay? Is that going to be a play instant replay? Is it a play at first? So that's why I think you have to be real careful. If you delve into instant replay, games could be 5 and 6 hours long.
Cantu has driven in 6 runs in this series. Our Geico quote of the night. From Jim Leyland: the players are human, the umpires are human, the managers are human. On Jim Joyce's missed call from last night. We talked about it on Marlins Live, Tommy. One of the things that came out of last night is the way that Armando Galarraga treated the call. Jim Joyce, who went to the Tiger locker room in tears after the game to apologize. Jim Leyland, after he cooled down, you saw that quote. He had a few other very classy quotes. And today, since Joyce was at first base last night, he worked home plate between those two teams. Galarraga, with Leland's prompting, presented the lineup card at home plate and again patted Joyce on the back and again said, don't worry about it. Cantu, right field. Corey Hart is there, and the Marlins fail to pick up a run on a very nice opportunity. Chris Capuano is back. And he takes a fastball that misses, and it's 1-0. It looks early on, Tommy, like Eric Cooper is calling the low strike. And the high strike, not so much.
Then you kind of file that away if he stays consistent with it.
Prince Fielder hammers that ball. Right center field. Carroll giving chase, and it hops up into the seats. Man, when he hits him, he's got that low leverage and just absolutely tears into a ball.
Well, he jumps on this changeup that hangs out and out over the plate. And you're right. He is not a guy who's 6'2" or 3.
No, 5'11".
Prince Fielder's 5'11". So he's compact, and he has that powerful swing.
5'11", 270. He would make a great Big Ten fullback. Ron Dane-like. Fastball from Johnson. Corey Hart on a homer binge this past weekend, and it continued into this series. Hit a homer on Monday. That was in the Marlins' 13-5 win. He hit a homer on Tuesday. Marlins won that ball game 6-4. He was 0 for 3 last night. The Brewers got to the Marlins bullpen and won it 7-4. That's scorched. Foul. Two things I didn't like about that. Number one, as hard as Corey Hart hit that ball. Number two, did you see as the ball went by the bullpen, they were putting the tarp on the mound?
Well, that's the other thing I don't like about that, is that it's starting to rain again.
And the Brewer bullpen all heading for cover. That one misses outside at 96. It's 2-2. In some ways, this is a bigger test for Johnson than the Phillies were, because the Phillies were a team that were not swinging it that well. You can't say that about the Brewers. They've been swinging it well all season. Although Casey McGee, one of their best hitters, is getting the night off. 2-2 coming. Struck him out.
And the other big test is the decision to go ahead and play this game knowing that there was more rain. As I said before, the last thing you want is to lose Josh Johnson, your ace, and get 3 or 4 innings out of him and then have to wait through a delay and come back with the bullpen.
Well, you know, Ken Maka is worried about the same thing with Chris Capuano. Gomez pokes one foul. Carlos Gomez last night had 2 very big hits for the Brewers. The RBI single in the 6th inning. He was the last man that Chris Bolstad faced. He had an RBI single in the 8th inning. That was when the Brewers started to pile on the Marlins bullpen. Not a good night for the Marlins pen last night.
That's a good pitch, by the way, after he's gone away with slider, fastball. Then he buried a fastball on the inside part of the plate. Yeah, the bullpen had gone all that time without giving up a home run.
And they gave up 2 last night. It didn't miss by much. You're right. The Gallardo home run was against Tankersley.
So after 58-plus innings,
Fielder,
without a home run, then 3.
Fielder, Kataris, and Gallardo. Ground ball, and it gets through into left field. Coughlin's right on the spot. And Gomez has a base hit. So the Brewers now at the corners with very good speed at first, I might add.
Good adjustment for Carlos Gomez to get to that ball, and it just skips out of the reach of Jorge Cantu. Because it was in front of him, Prince Fielder had to hold. And the Marlins have a double play and open, but you have to really be careful and watch for Gomez, who's probably thinking about a stolen base.
Gomez has 7 stolen bases. He's second on the Brewers. Ryan Braun has 11. Here is Escobar, the young shortstop. And J.J. chases Gomez back.
Not a lot of options, though. If he were to steal, you could walk Escobar, go after Lucroy, who's starting for the first time, and then you have a pitcher after that.
Escobar, a guy that the Brewers have had their eye on as he's come up through their organization, and the guy that they entrusted the shortstop job to after dealing J.J. Hardy to the Minnesota Twins.
Escobar out of Venezuela.
We just went through that whole Venezuelan shortstop lineage when we were in Chicago.
We were in Chicago, yeah, we did.
Ozzie Guillen and Omar Vizquel, Chico Carrasquel, Louis Aparicio. A one-hopper. Hanley has it. Got it out there. Ugl's turn. Picked by Gabby. Great play by Gabby Sanchez. Nicely done by Hanley Ramirez. And a quick turn by Dan Uggla. Escobar hit it hard, but JJ gets out of the inning. Concrete Super Saturdays coming up on the 19th. A post-game merengue concert with Sergio Vargas and Millie Quezada. Following a fireworks spectacular, it's all presented by the Dominican Republic Ministry of Tourism. Marlins and Rays at 7:10. 1-877-MARLINS or visit marlins.com. Here is Uggla. And Dan pulls it down the third base line. When Dan Uggla went to the video room today to pull out video on Chris Capuano and see how he did against him, he was in for a real shock. Because Uggla in his career is 0 for 7 with 7 strikeouts against Capuano.
Well, here's a couple of ways to look at it. Capuano in pitching this game tonight, probably a little different pitcher than back then, and I think we agree Dan Uggla's a different hitter than he was 3 or 4 years ago. A little better knowledge of the strike zone, taking his walks more each year.
He's behind in the count 0-2.
I know.
You got any more?
I shouldn't have said that with an 0-2 count.
Here's the 0-2. Fastball is up. He has walked twice against him, so he has actually 9 plate appearances, but the walks don't count as at bats. Ugla.
There you go. It's a new year.
Look, and Ugla even looked into the dugout. He's like, yeah, baby. Hey, nobody gets Dan Ugla out
I got him now.
consecutive times.
I got him now.
Took me 3 years, but I finally got my hit.
But I think there is some truth to it. He's a different hitter now, and Capuano's a little different pitcher out there now. He stung that ball.
Watch him. Here's Cody Ross.
Probably telling Dave Collins, yeah, I own this guy now.
Cody Ross 2 for 5 against, as long as we're playing this game, Cody Ross 2 for 5 against Capuano with a home run. Cody has 5 this year. He's driven in 30. Has a home run in this series, and obviously it was a big one. If you've been following the Fish, there's Capuano's first move over to first.
Yeah, he can pick guys off that aren't even thinking about stealing. You just have to be real careful.
Ross had the 3-run homer on Monday to tie the game before the Marlins offense went split-tow and put up 13. A strike. Now, there's another streak on the line here tonight.
Look at that opening in that area with Weeks cheating for the double play and Prince Fielder holding the runner. A lot of room on that right side.
How much of that is scouting report on Cody Ross as well? 0-2. Struck him out. Cody Ross saying we'll take those 2. Let's look on Fox Track.
It missed, but not by a whole lot. If you can remember and picture in your mind the other night with Roy Halladay, that pitch was a strike a lot. So it just missed, but a little bit.
Here's Paulino. Since Capuano is left-handed, Paulino has had success against him. You could probably line up all the left-handed pitchers in baseball, and Paulino's numbers would be good against him.
It would be fun to find if there was a left-hander that he's had 10, 12, 15 at-bats against that he hasn't had success against.
5 for 15 in his career against him. Here's the other streak that's on the line for Capuano. Capuano's last season in the big leagues was 07, and his last game was September of that year, September 28th. From May 17th of that season until his last appearance, he was 0-12 with an ERA of over 6. So he hasn't won a game since May 17th of 07. That ball gets through, and Ugla's going to get down into scoring position.
So obviously, pitching in pain that year,
Yes.
pitching with a bad rotator, bad elbow.
Yeah, he had after that season, and the Brewers, by the way, were 0-22 when he pitched during that span. After that season, he had his right shoulder repaired, his non-throwing shoulder. He had a torn labrum there, and then he had his second Tommy John surgery in 2008.
Yeah, not a whole lot of pitching in 08 and 09. 6 games and 9 innings in the minor leagues in those 2 years.
Here's the 1-1 in the dirt. Two and one to Paulino. Marlins had a runner in scoring position. In fact, they had Gabby Sanchez at third base with 1 out and a 3-1 pitch to Hanley Ramirez. And he popped it up to third. Now Ugla with Paulino waiting. 2-2.
He give you that off speed. Now you have to be careful for the pitch that he struck Cody Ross out on. He'll go inside with his fastball that's maybe 6-7 miles an hour faster. Change-ups in the low 80s. Fastball's been in the 86 to 88 range. Looks like it's coming.
Paulino shoots it down the right field line, hits it pretty well. That ball is going to land fair. Uggla's going to score. Paulino tearing towards second. Eddie's there with an RBI double. Ronnie Paulino has driven in 5 runs in this series.
You're a lefty, and you can't come in on Ronnie Paulino. He just muscled that ball out. He didn't have a great swing. And that's exactly what Capuano tried to do, go inside. He got it up a little bit, and that helps. That helps in Paulino's case. Ronnie thought it was going to go foul. But Fox Exmo shows us a few inches fair. Dan Uggla checking it out. Once he sees it drop fair, he knows he's going to score easily.
Paulino has been one of the better Marlins with runners in scoring position. His average about 312 now after that base hit. Here's Brett Carroll. And he takes outside with J.J. on deck. Carroll had a pinch hitting appearance in last night's ball game. Knocked a curveball back into center field for a single.
Yeah, Ronnie Paulino now, Rich, is 12 for 34 on the homestand.
There's the changeup, and it's 1-1. So Dick Groat is the biggest name that I could find out of Duke.
Pirate
in Major League Baseball history.
Dick Groat, Bill Mazeroski, double play combination.
At the knees. And it's been a strike for both pitchers. It's 1-2. You can see the rain falling. It was an avalanche of water this afternoon leading up towards the game. It lightened at about 6:15. Grounds crew had the field covered. Tarp came off a little after 7. And we started at 7:23. BC pulls one to third. Counsell looks Paulino back and throws him out. And here comes JJ to face the lefty Capuano. Remember last year, Josh Johnson had a big year at the plate. This AB against Dave Bush.
Oh, he went straight away center field. JJ hit 3 last year.
Yes, he did. And I want to say all 3 were to center field. Capuano misses outside. Josh Johnson, of course, Tommy John surgery. Capuano's first Tommy John surgery was way back in 2002. It's not like he had the procedure done twice in the last 2 or 3 years. But he had it done back in 2002 and then 2008. We saw that shot of his arm. There's a few mementos from those surgeries.
A la Tim Hudson, who has the seams of a baseball tattoo on that surgery.
Two and one.
No tat for Capuano.
If he can pitch and pitch well, what a shot in the arm he would be for the Milwaukee Brewers, who are desperate for pitching right now. Any kind of pitching. Starting pitching, bullpen.
Somebody to go along with Giovanni Gallardo.
Randy Wolf has been okay. he strikes him out. The Marlins get a run, and it's Ronnie Paulino with an RBI double. 1-0 to Fish. Another double, another RBI. So Josh Johnson has a run to work with now. JJ extracted himself from the top of the second. Getting some help from his infield. A hot smash that Hanley fed Ugla. A nice 6-4-3 double play. Replay fueled by Gatorade returns with an all-new season. High school teammates reunite 11 years later. Hockeytown. Follow the journey of Catholic Central versus Trent. ReplayTheSeries.com. Tommy has watched the replay of that game over and over and over. Here's Lucroy, and he takes a fastball and a strike. Product of the University of Louisiana Lafayette. Out of Umatilla, Florida.
Well, I've been through a lot of parts of Florida. I'm going to have to guess that's up in the Panhandle or up in the northern part.
John Sulzer, who is the expert of everything Florida, says you are correct, sir. Is that up St. Augustine way?
I would say more north.
We went on to attend the University of Louisiana Lafayette, all Sun Belt Conference pick in 2007. Strokes it into right field. BC is there, and he makes the catch, battling the lights. I'm interested to see Tommy Hutton when the Marlins get into the new ballpark. How many outfielders have trouble? I think a lot of outfielders are going to be happy. Josh Willingham's going to throw a party. Because the football lights here are not kind to outfielders.
They will be baseball lights in the new ballpark. We saw last night, I believe it was, Jorge Cantu almost lose a high chopper in the lights.
And by the way, speaking of the new ballpark, we had an email question on Email Tuesday about where the bullpens might be set in the new ballpark, and from what we're told, they'll be right field and left field.
Yeah, we'll get further confirmation. The Marlins dugout in the new ballpark will be on the third base line.
Capuano goes down swinging. Paulino picked it before it hit the dirt. JJ has two quick outs to open up the third. Here comes Ricky Weeks. And the dugouts are occupied by the home team, and that's merely by, I guess, design. Whereas the home clubhouse, different ballparks have different designs. A lot of that has to do with footprints, where a design company can place not only the home clubhouse, but also weight room, batting cages.
Someone will say, well, why do you need batting cages if you're going to have batting practice on the field all the time? But each team, early, before teams take the field, there's an opportunity to go down with the hitting coach and work in that batting cage. And all the new ballparks that are built have those indoor batting cages as well.
And there obviously are certain hitting drills that you do only in a cage as opposed to on the field during batting practice. 2-2.
Yeah, hitting off a tee, a flip drill with a coach flipping balls to you.
Two coming. Ricky Weeks, the second overall pick in the first round of the 2003 draft. Speaking of the draft, we will be speaking with Jim Fleming, Vice President of Player Development, a little later on in the show about the draft. To right, Carroll went back, now comes in and makes the catch. And Josh Johnson is through 3 with a 1-0 lead. Season ticket holder in 2010, reserve your spot in line. Seat selection in the new Marlins ballpark will begin this season for current season ticket holders. 1-877-MARLINS, the number to call today. And, of course, check out the latest of the live webcam shot. Just go to marlins.com, find the ballpark link. We'll give you all the latest shots and show you what's going on down as the roof is under construction now. The rails are all up, the supports are all up, and the roof under construction. Chris Coughlin pulls that one foul.
Yeah, there's a look. If you look down the left field line, you can see where the Marlins bullpen will be, and in that right field, kind of right center, is where the visiting bullpen will be.
Coughlin takes a high, hard one.
Chris right now trying to figure out Capuano. Got him the first time, and he has gotten ahead quickly here.
Checked his swing. Did not go. Counts 2-2. 3 doubles, a triple, and a homer in this series for Coghlan. And a sharp single to right.
Well, on a 5-game hitting streak now for Chris Coghlan. 10 for 20 in this 5-game streak.
And 9 of those 10 hits, Tommy, have come in this series. So 9 for 16 in the series. And here's Gabby. Sanchez hammered one to left, a double. His 14th of the season. Coghlan's at first. And remember, Capuano, one of the best moves in all of baseball. Gabby goes to right field. Hart makes the catch. And Coghlan back to first. Here comes Hanley. One of the key at-bats in this ball game, and I know it's early on, but for the Marlins and for Capuano, it was big, was the first inning. Sanchez had doubled, and he moved to third on a wild pitch. And Hanley was at the plate with a 3-1 count, and Capuano got him to pop up. The Marlins did not score that run because Cantu then flied out to end the inning. I would think, and as a former first baseman, please chime in on this one. When you're a guy like Prince Fielder, you really have to be on your toes because I've seen pitchers pick off first baseman as well.
Yeah, you have to hold your ground, and you're not going to cover as much ground. You're not going to get off the bag as well as you would with somebody else on the mound. Or he will pick you off.
Did that help you as a runner when you got on first against the lefty that you'd seen so many lefties in their moves?
Rich, I rarely played against lefties, so obviously I didn't get on base against left-handers too often. You know, a little bit.
I hadn't pulled your splits up, so I wasn't fully aware of that. I'm sorry I walked into that one. I should have checked with the Danny Ozark before that.
It was funny, though, to listen to different pitchers. Steve Carlton had a great move. Tug McGraw never threw over to first, but he looked like he would fake. He would step off and fake. He'd give you. He never threw there, and I would listen to coaches tell runners, "Look out! This guy has a good move," and I had to restrain myself from laughing.
Ball's in the dirt, and it's 2-1. That right there was Capuano kind of adjusting his delivery to the plate.
Yeah, he gives you different looks.
It would figure that a lefty out of Duke who has a degree in engineering? Economics?
Economics degree.
Oh, okay. Economics, not engineering. Hanley pulls one. Counsell, great range. And a quick turn gets Hanley at first. Wow. Counsell going far to his left. Doubles up Hanley Ramirez. On top in the fourth inning. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton, and we are joined now by the Vice President of Player Development and Scouting and Assistant General Manager, Jim Fleming, who just saw Craig Counsell single into center field. Jim, how are you tonight?
I'm good.
Where are you tonight?
I'm in Jupiter, Florida, preparing for the draft in the draft room. Actually, just walked out of the draft room into my office up here.
Give us a little visual of the draft room, Clem. What's it look like?
Pizza boxes.
It's a mess. It's got scattered over about 6 different boards and tables and chairs and Copenhagen cans and pizza boxes, all kinds of stuff.
What's at the top of your list? Is there a position that you guys are looking for, or is it best player available?
It's best player available. That's always been our philosophy. You don't want to walk by somebody who's going to have a big impact to plug a hole. So we're going to go after the guy we think has the most talent and the most impact at the big league level.
Now, Flem, where did the Marlins draft this year?
We picked 23rd, and it's always a good thing when you pick down because that means our big league team is winning ball games.
And one of the reasons why is the guy that we're watching right now, Josh Johnson, whom I'm sure you scouted personally and saw pitching in Oklahoma. You coached at the University of Oklahoma, didn't you? There's a line drive and a flip to first and a double play from the kid from Jenks, Oklahoma, Josh Johnson.
I did. That was way back. I kind of remember that.
Tell us what you remember about scouting Josh Johnson, though, when you saw him in high school.
Well, obviously, the first thing that strikes you about Josh is his size. Even though he weighs a lot more now, he was a skinny, big kid, big boned, and immediately struck you how good his arm worked and what a good delivery he had. And in fact, Stan Meek, our scouting director, and I were just talking about that a little while ago when we turned on the TV to see how we were doing. And it's one of those deliveries that hits you right away. I know Stan really liked him. Joe Jordan was with us at that time, and they both saw him before I did and said this is a guy that we really like.
Once you saw the mechanics and the body type, how much investigating and how much did you get to know the personality of Josh or the type of person he was?
Well, we were very fortunate with that one because Joe Jordan, who was our Midwest cross-checker, had given him pitching lessons, and he had attended Stan Meek's pitching camp.
Oh, wow.
So we really knew him. And being from Jenks, we had connections up there, and we knew a lot about him, and we knew what a good person he was and what a good worker he was. So it was kind of a no-brainer for us.
Flem, obviously at number 23, picking 23rd, you're not going to be able to, more than likely, get a Josh Johnson. Of your choices, because I'm sure right now you have an idea of who you'd like to pick, what are the odds you get that opportunity to pick that person?
Well, what you do, especially when you pick where we do, is you just got to put together a board and kind of you've got 23 guys obviously on your board that it could be any of those guys. Normally in this situation we will pick somewhere 10 to 15 on our board because every board is different. So you're going to get a player you really like, and obviously we might get Josh Johnson because we got Josh in the 4th round. So you hope that every player is something like that, but we'll get a good player. It's a little harder when the farther down in the 1st round you pick. It's a little harder because it's more speculation. You got to really plan and do some scenarios and who you like this and what happens if this and so you go into it a little bit more uncertain of what's going to happen. But still, if you do a good job putting your board together, it works out.
I'm going to wait till this next pitch to Corey Hart. I got one more, and I'm sure you have a couple too, Rich.
3-0 coming to Corey Hart. and it's popped up. Fire away, Hut.
Prior to you getting geared up for the draft, I know you go around and see a lot of players. Have you had a chance, and how many times have you seen Mike Stanton this year?
I actually have not seen Mike since spring training. We've been really hitting it hard this year, and I was going to pop in there, but Mike was going so well, and everybody else had been in there, and I get reports almost daily from either one of our rovers or from Brian Chatton, and everyone said he was just doing great, and obviously you've seen what he's been doing. So I didn't think it was real important for me to get in there because it was going so well. And so I haven't seen him.
Well, we haven't either, but we've been reading all about him.
My phone rings at least once a day from somebody who wants to talk about Mike.
Now, the story that and the cardinal sin is to start a story with 2 outs. So if this inning ends, can you hang out for another half inning?
Sure.
He walked him. Not that that's a good thing, but the story on Stanton, and there was an article in Sports Illustrated about a month ago about Jason Hayward and how the Braves got him and the Marlins didn't take him. But in talking to Michael Hill, he explained the whole scenario. One of the reasons that the Marlins didn't take Jason Hayward was you guys knew that you were going to get Mike Stanton in about, 20 picks later?
Well, we hoped we were. I don't think we knew that. But we had a good feeling about Mike, and that's not exactly why we didn't take in Jason Hayward. We took Matt Dominguez because we thought that Matt Dominguez was going to be a really, really good player, and I still do. It's just Hayward came out and has gone a lot faster. But, when you look at drafts, especially of high school kids, they change so much in the first 2 or 3 years. You can never be certain what's going to happen. We really like Jason Hayward, but we really like Matt Dominguez too.
Yeah, and I guess the final tally for drafts this year, last year, the year before isn't for 5-10 years down the road. The Marlins are certainly hopeful that they'll be seeing Dominguez at third and Stanton in the outfield.
Absolutely, and I still expect that. One of the things that, Mike is 20 years old and so is Matt. They're both young drafts when we took them. And I think because Mike has gone so fast, people have wondered why Matt's not coming so fast. But Matt's right on track. It's just Mike's way ahead of the curve. So I think Matt will get there and be an excellent player for us.
Yeah, I've noticed that Dominguez has picked things up, as has Kyle Skipworth, too, this year.
Yeah, he's doing a lot better. One of the things that we noticed last year is he's, as you guys have seen, is a tall, lean kid. He wore out real fast, and he wasn't strong enough.
Hey,
and
Jim,
okay.
Jim, we just good news to report. Tell everybody in Jupiter that JJ got through the inning without giving up a run.
Okay, I'll do it.
And we appreciate you coming on. Get back into the war room and the pizza boxes, and good luck in the draft.
Thank you very much.
Need a car, truck, or van? Who are you going to call? Maroney. Tobacco-free Florida. Escape the addiction of tobacco. Be free. Visit FloridaQuitline.com. By AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by South Florida Ford. Visit SouthFloridaFord.com for great offers. Cantu takes outside. Jorge Cantu leading it off for the Fish. 2-0 count in the bottom of the fourth in a 1-0 game. By the way, we also had an emailer ask us about, we were talking about the other night, the Ford sign in left center field. And that target, the black dot right there. Mm-hmm. Nice work, Tommy Hutton. Any Marlin player hits that, a fan before every game is selected, and that fan will win a brand new Ford F-150 truck. Now, remember when the clock is to the left of that? We've seen the clock get hit probably 3-4 times in the last 3-4 years.
So it's certainly attainable.
Yes. In fact, the other day
we saw a ball hit the, I think it was the minute hand one time on the clock.
And it bounced straight up?
Yeah.
The other day, watching that highlight clip of the Marlins in that 13-run game on Monday, there were about 3 or 4 balls that banged off the sign next to it, went over it, and or hit under it. 3-2 coming to Cantu. That's right. Our producer John Solster just reminded us that Jorge Cantu would have had 30 home runs in 2008 if it weren't for a surfboard on top of the car.
Yeah, there's a little car, looks like a Volkswagen or something, has a surfboard on top, which is part of the fence.
Yes, it's the Chevron ad in left field in San Francisco. I don't think he won anything for that, though. Hammers that one into the corner. It goes.
He won something there. He won a nice pitch from Chris Capuano. He was patient in fouling off others and then got a mistake from Capuano. That's what Jorge Cantu does so well. Watch this mistake pitch. Up, belt high, after he fouled off a couple of pretty good pitches the other way. That one he jumped on.
I tell you what, Tommy, you really hope that come early July that Jorge Cantu is still stroking it like he is, so that when the All-Star reserves are selected, and they're selected by a vote of the players, the league is involved in it, and the manager will also have some input. But you hope that Jorge Cantu is an All-Star for the first time, because he certainly deserves it. He's leading the National League in RBIs.
Well, I think it's good, and we mentioned it the other night when we were talking about Clay Hensley. It's good that Charlie Manuel has certainly input in that selection process, being the manager of the National League All-Star team, because the Marlins will see the Phillies, and they have seen the Phillies, so he's aware of these guys. Just kind of relaxing down the bullpen. JJ's on the mound. Want the water or the Gatorade? Just fishing for it. Just like Jim Fleming and Stan Meek are fishing for that pizza right now.
They might be looking for a cold one, just like Hensley. Something's in there. Ugla got a base hit in the second inning. A milestone hit for Ugla. His first hit against Capuano. He was 0 for 7 with 7 strikeouts before the at-bat. And Ugla playfully looked into the Marlins dugout as he was headed down to first after he sent a sharp grounder into left field. Counts 2-1. By the way, Clay Hensley is available tonight. He was not available
Clay digging for now?
Last night. Let's look.
Okay.
A little Red Bull.
Red Bull, okay.
We'll have to ask him if that's part of his routine now, is a fourth inning Red Bull.
Hey, he told me today that he likes to, you know, we've had those shots of him, how he stands by the fence there after he loosens up. And he said he likes to do that. It doesn't take him as long now to get ready.
Oh, Ugla owns this guy.
I told you he owns him.
Cantu's coming in to score. It took him 3 long years to wait for Chris Capuano to get back to the big leagues. And Ugla is thinking to himself, hey, I was due.
And Capuano, in the meantime, is saying, that's not the same guy. A couple of pitches that have been down, and Dan Ugla has just handled them with authority. The single, and now a double.
0 for 7, all 7 strikeouts. And, of course, if you've been with us all night, you know Capuano hasn't pitched since 2007 because of the Tommy John surgery. A dozen doubles for Ugla. And this is the part that the Marlins have done well at times in this series, and that's the add-on run part. Cody Ross was called out on strikes, a contentious at-bat. He and Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire, exchanged words.
I'll tell you an area where the Marlins have been solid, and that's throughout the lineup. You look at the doubles column. Jorge Cantu with his 17th. Dan Ugla has 12. Gabby Sanchez has 14.
Ball in the dirt.
So the offensive wealth has been spread around.
Well, with 4 doubles tonight, the Marlins are at 100 on the season. And that puts them 5th in the National League. Cody up the end of the bat into right center field. Going to fall for a base hit. Ugla to third. And the Marlins have runners at the corners. And here comes Paulino, who drove in the first run of the night with a double.
With nobody out, there's no sense taking too many chances if you're Dan Ugla. Dan's the runner. He checks out the ball, thinks it might drop, not sure, and he sees Corey Hart with a little bit of a decoy. But again, with nobody out, you play it that way. You have runners at the corners, and Ronnie Paulino up.
Paulino's double wasn't a thing of beauty. It was a shot down the right field line that just fell fair.
Yeah, fastball up, and he just muscled it down into that area.
All right, here's a spot where you really don't want to get picked off at first base. Paulino, a long look down to Joe Espada with Ugla at third base. Cody is at first. Ball and a strike to Paulino.
And Cody Ross is making sure he doesn't get picked off. He actually took a step back to the bag when Capuano delivered. Hey, you know what? That's okay.
I've seen guys do that, take a step back, and still get picked off by a guy with a good move. The Mark Burleys, the Chris Capuanos.
Well, that's the thing. Guys with great moves will tell you they will pick off more slow base runners than base stealers. The base stealers are pretty sharp. They're aware of things. They're going to pick off the guy who's just getting the mediocre lead and thinking that he's not going to throw over.
You saw Cameron Lowe in the Brewers bullpen. There's the throw to first. Of course, Cody was on the other end of a double steal with a lefty on the mound, with nobody out and Paulino at the plate. Marlins aren't going to be signaling for that play. which was a favorite of Bill Parcells. Uggla's double followed Cantu's double. Cody then single.
Let's see what Ronnie gets 3-1.
Up the middle. Weeks bobbles and gets nobody. And the Marlins lead it 3-0.
Well, I tell you, that ball had some tricky spin. Anytime a ball is hit off the end of the bat, in the cue shot variety, it's spinning when it hits the grass. Ricky Weeks had the right idea. If he gets it, he can step on the bag and turn the double play. But that ball was spinning so much, he never could get to it, nor could Capuano. There's that spin. Watch this as it comes up to Weeks. Like he closed the glove a little bit too soon.
And you know he's thinking, if not sneaking a peek, at how close Cody Ross is.
Might be trying to do it a little too fast.
So there's nobody out, and here's BC. You've got JJ on deck, and so BC will try to drive in a run rather than just move runners up.
Now an error charge to Weeks should be an RBI. I haven't heard that announcement, but it should be an RBI for Ronnie Paulino.
Would be his second of the ball game. Yes, and he does get an RBI. Paulino has driven in 6 runs in this series. Capuano wobbling right now. He was stretched out a bit in AAA.
Yeah, they weren't too concerned about pitch count. They weren't going to limit him to 75, 80.
As they prepared him for the big leagues. He went 6 2/3 innings 2 starts ago. He had an 8-inning start back in early May.
Okay, this is where I think you go ahead and give Craig Carroll the green light with the pitcher on deck. Even though it's JJ, but you have a lefty out there. A little tougher for JJ.
Let's see what he gets. Strike it, it's 3-1.
Boy, nice BP fastball right there. Might have been a changeup.
Carroll tattoos it. Foul. Look out, everybody. That's a souvenir you want no part of until it stops moving. Highest pitch total so far here in the 4th. There's JJ. Marlins have 2 here in the 4th. Tied him up at 76 miles an hour. AT&T trivia time. Let's flip the phone. Only 2 Brewers to start consecutive All-Star games. Current Brewers or all-time Brewers? Crackstaff. All-time Brewers.
Boy, you have to think of Cecil Cooper and Paul Molitor and Robin Yount. Teddy Higuera.
How about Ryan Braun?
Ryan Braun, you mentioned earlier, leading all outfielders in All-Star votes right now.
So I'll go Ryan Braun for 100.
I'm going to go with Robin Yount.
You're not going to go Jeff Cirillo on me? Larry Heisel?
Pat Listash.
Pat Listash, Rookie of the Year. J.J. takes. Was Sheffield there long enough to be an All-Star twice?
No. Gary Sheffield came up when he was 18, 19 years old and was playing shortstop for the Brewers.
J.J. drops down a gorgeous bunt. Counsell is on it, and he throws him out.
Textbook bunting by Josh Johnson.
And that sets up an interesting at-bat. It's Capuano against Coughlin again.
Look at this. Bat's in the right spot. Pushes it a little bit toward third because he wants to make Counsell field it. And got it done beautifully. Look at that.
Coughlin struck out in the first. Capuano got in front of him in the third. And Coughlin fouled off a few pitches before drilling a single to right. So he's 1 for 2. Cameron Lowe is ready to go in the bullpen, the big right-hander.
And if the Marlins are able to extend this inning, we may see Cameron Lowe next.
Ball and a strike.
Yeah, it's been a long inning. This is pitch number 30 in this inning for Capuano.
No swing. Capuano wants a check. Mike Riley says no. I think in the next collective bargaining agreement, hitters are going to lobby for the ability to appeal as well. Now, how did pitchers and catchers get that ability and hitters not be given the same rights, Tommy? Did you miss a meeting at one point?
Well, I would just say pitchers and catchers would say, hey, hitters have all the advantage anyway. Give us something.
2 and 2.
That's how that came about.
With 2 outs. Paulino is the trail runner at second, not the best of speed. Capuano stepping off. Marlins opened this inning with 3 hits. A Cantu double, Ugla an RBI double, a Cody Ross single. Ronnie Paulino's grounder was booted by Ricky Weeks. He got an RBI on that. And Coughlin stays alive. A fastball up under his hands.
Remember, Capuano went up with a fastball when he got ahead to Chris in the first inning. Went with that scouting report that said that, you know what, with 2 strikes, sometimes you can get him to chase that. But I think we've seen Cogs chase fewer of those the last week or so.
2-2. If he loses Coughlin, does he face Sanchez?
I don't think so. I think if he loses Coughlin, we'll see Cameron Lowe come in. Gabby's had some pretty good swings against him.
He lost them, and we'll see now what Ken Maka does.
5 of the last 7 batters, he's had 3-ball counts.
He got up and then thought about it, and he's on his way out, and he's going to go to the bullpen. So Chris Capuano, you got to tip your cap to him. He's been out of the major leagues since September of 2007. after having his second Tommy John surgery and labrum surgery as well. He returns here tonight. Here's Arbor Rooney, call to the pen.
When you need a car.
Are up 3-0. Cameron Lowe comes in. His second appearance of this series, the big right-hander out of Granada Hills, California. 6'8", 228 pounds.
Yeah, we saw him come over the top. Pretty good curveball. Used his fastball. Decent numbers at AAA. He's had some time in the big leagues with Texas. Spent a little time in Japan last year.
And now that he's here with the Brewers, it's a nice little coincidence that he played at the same high school as Ryan Braun, Granada Hills, California. Braun, of course, would come east to play his college ball here in Miami, while Lowe would stay out west to play at Cal State Northridge. Oh, 1. Big heavy sinker.
You know, he's one of those guys because of his height. You think of a John Roush. John Roush doesn't throw 95 miles an hour, but it's got good movement, and the 87, 88 appears to be that hard.
Let's see what he comes up with. 0-2. Got him. Same pitch.
Boy, good sinker. Good
Super sinker. Especially when you're 6'8". That is some sinker. Start over the Milwaukee Brewers in the 5th. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, a big bachelor party. How many total in the party here?
25.
25 are here. John Lenahan, his dad, set this up here at the ballpark after how many years of courting now? 10?
It's been a decade-long courtship.
That's a long courtship.
Well, you got to take your time with it. You can't rush into anything.
You got to be sure by this point.
I think I am. I got 48 hours, so we'll see.
Are you getting married soon?
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days. Now, why did you decide a Marlins game? And by the way, these guys are from Wisconsin, hence the Brewers have, but they live down here. Marlins are your second favorite team, except when they
my backup squad. Yes,
play the Brew Crew. But you root for the Marlins as number one.
As far as I'm concerned, the Marlins trump South Beach and Miami. It doesn't get any better than this. It really and truly does.
Well, that's nice to hear. And you root for, even though you grew up in Wisconsin, I saw you cheering all the Marlins.
Absolutely, the Marlins all the way. A great team, and they will excel as the year goes on.
All right, well, it's good to see you guys. Here's the best man. You got any fun things planned for the week?
Oh yeah, starting off here. Gonna probably head out later this evening with this great crew, and just looking forward to having lots of fun here in Miami.
Good to see you guys, and it's nice to hear. You see, guys, you could grow up somewhere else and still make the Marlins your number one team. We'll give you a break though, because you're getting married.
I appreciate that. Thank you,
Back to you guys.
You know how oftentimes we send Frank Fort out on assignment, like he went to visit Garrett Whittles and
at FIU. Yeah,
I think Frank should go along with those guys for the next 48 hours.
That we might not ever see Frank.
No. Jonathan Lucroy fouls a pitch off.
It might be like that movie Hangover.
Escobar is at first base. Josh Johnson has struck out 5. He's walked 1. That base hit by Escobar is the 4th he's given up. JM Lexus presents leaders of the game. ERA at home, JJ 1.41 at JM Lexus. Price made us number 1, 18 years running. Click jmlexus.com to find out how. Lucroy fouls it back, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, JJ's gotten in that consistent groove where he's gone 6 or more innings his last 9 starts. Here's another thing you have to think about. Because of the nature of the bullpen for Milwaukee, when Cameron Lowe came in the game, he's the next batter. So you have a little luxury. You know that Ken Maka needs to stretch out Lowe, get a little more work out of him, so no pinch hitter coming up.
Told you about the injuries that the Brewers have had at the catcher position. We're talking a little bit about Matt Traynor last night. With Zahn on the disabled list, he was the guy they were kind of depending on. Kataras has been a nice offensive addition. He's got a great on-base percentage, a great eye at the plate. Runner goes. And Hanley throws out Lucroy. Let's flip the phone. I went Ryan Braun on this one. Tommy went Robin Yount.
Who did I go with? Robin Yount.
Number 50, Richard Shannon.
Nicely done.
Okay. That's a good sign as we get ready to take off to fly to New York.
Right there.
That's a good sign.
Time called is Cameron Lowe at the plate.
How about this matchup? Lowe 6'8", Josh Johnson 6'7".
Lowe, not a lot of at-bats in the American League. He tries to bunt and misses. And, of course, last year he was in Japan.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he's ever had a major league at bat.
I'll bet you in interleague he's run into one or two.
Maybe he's had a couple of in interleague, and he's 1 for 2, we're told.
I wonder if the 2 leagues in Japan use the designated hitter, or if one has the DH and the pitcher hits in
off
one.
the top of my head, I'm going to say one has it and one doesn't. And I could be totally wrong. They both could use the DH.
Or they both might not.
No, I think the DH is used over there.
There's a universal sign for the DH?
Yeah.
Here's the 0-2. JJ spins around and Escobar is back in.
Well, that's a good way to do it. Don't waste too many pitches. 3 pitches for JJ to get low.
Time now for the Keep Your Edge Spotlight, brought to you by Just for Men Mustache and Beard. Josh Johnson has given the Marlins the edge tonight. You too can keep your edge with Just for Men Mustache and Beard. 6 strikeouts for JJ. Struck out the side in the first inning. Got a very nice play from his infield. All 3 of them, Hanley, Ugla, and Gabby Sanchez, to turn the inning-ending double play in the second. And here is Weeks, who was 0 for 2.
Good job in getting ahead. Only a couple 2-0 counts tonight from Josh Johnson. And we are told, our crack staff right on top of things, that there are 2 leagues, the Pacific League and the Central League. And the Central League uses the DH. So the Pacific League does not.
So you just made some guys very happy that have now made the crack staff drinking game. Anytime we mention.
Yeah, where were those guys? Was that a Gainesville group?
It was a Gainesville. Anything doing with something like that
would
comes
be
out
Gainesville.
of Gainesville.
Yeah.
There's probably a variety of drinking games.
I can just hear him now. Put down the books.
Here's the 0-2.
The Japanese season is not as long, 144 games.
He struck him out with a fastball. 7 strikeouts for Josh Johnson through 5 innings. He is shutting down one of the better offensive teams in the National League. Marlins 3, Brewers nothing. happy birthday to Kim Butler. Working with the visiting crew tonight. She got a birthday hug there and a scoreboard birthday wish.
Happy birthday, Kim. And a belated happy birthday to our guest last night, Reed Cornelius.
It wasn't until Reed said goodbye that we stumbled upon that fact. Hanley Ramirez pulls it. Foul. That was a rocket into Gonzo's corner.
And there's Reed. Very nice interview last night. Got a chance to talk to Reed for a half inning.
I think it's a real advantage to have your bullpen coach be a pitching coach, let alone a pitching coach that has handled just about every pitcher in your system.
Yeah, that has seen a lot of these guys as they've come up.
Yep. Hanley hits another bolt to left. And he's racing around first. Up with the ball is Braun. And he's going to hold him to a single.
Yeah, that's the good news, bad news. The bad news is he hit it too hard. The good news, he got himself a base hit, but well played by Braun. This ball is stung. Hanley going hard up the line. But once he takes the turn, he sees Braun throwing the ball in. So there's no sense taking a chance with nobody out.
As Jeff Conine pointed out earlier this season, the new wall configuration in left field has made playing left field in this ballpark a lot easier. Much more predictable bounces coming off that wall.
You get the little mesh fencing around the scoreboard, and the ball would ricochet all kinds of directions.
Cantu doubled in the fourth.
Different situation now with a big right-hander out there, not the move that Capuano has.
Brewers have had a lot of trouble throwing runners out. George Kataris has caught only one of 21 base stealers. Cantu. Oh, great play by Counsell. Weeks his turn. That is terrific.
Watch that one later tonight on TV.
Craig Counsell starts a 5-4-3 double play. This is robbery.
Highway robbery, a pick, a feed, and got Jorge Cantu by a step. Wherever you put Craig Counsell, he's going to give you sure-handed defense. Wow.
So the Marlins have hit it hard twice against Lowe here in the fifth, and here is Ugla, who is sad to see Capuano go. Dan had finally figured out the lefty and had 2 hits against him.
Well, you talk about a couple of shots, the 2 balls that Hanley and Jorge Cantu hit.
Breaking ball, strike, 0-2. Cameron Lowe taking over for Chris Capuano. Capuano's line, 3 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs. He walked 1, struck out 4, 79 pitches worth. Lowe came in and struck out Gabby Sanchez with the bases loaded. And breaking balls in. Lowe thought he had strike 3 and out 3. Took a step. Big step towards the dugout.
Well, when you're 6'8", they're all big steps.
And he buries that sinker inside, and Ugla goes down swinging. We've played 5 innings here in South Florida tonight. The Marlins lead the Brewers.
Fútbol está disponible en español vía Zap y es presentado por KFC. Sexto inning contra Josh Johnson.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Rich, Tommy, what's up?
Tommy.
Hey, we're doing good. We're glad we're getting this one underway, and we're glad that JJ's pitching the way he is.
Well, he always have. No question about it. That's a great win right here to try to solve this homestand here against Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, a very good offensive team. And JJ got out of a jam in the second. Council pulls one to first.
Y Gaby pisando
Gabby
la
picks it up,
primera base para
steps
el out.
on the bag. Cookie, Gabby Sanchez has made huge strides defensively this year. It seems like once he got to the big leagues and got a little confidence, all of a sudden defensively he's really solidified.
Well, he's really been healthy now, Tommy and Rich, all spring and now during the season. He's done a great job, terrific job defensively. I mean, great reactions and good hands, and he's hitting the ball pretty good, and he's a different totally ball player today than we saw last year.
Yeah, it's amazing what confidence can do, and I think we've seen it in the turnaround of Chris Coughlin, who was just mired in that huge slump. All of a sudden, a few breaks, now he's gotten the confidence and everything's falling into place.
Y este lineazo de hit al right de Ryan Braun.
Ryan Braun, whatever he said, to right field.
No, on Coughlin, you know that the type of hitter that he is, and last year when he came up, he did the same thing. He was struggling offensively, and all of a sudden he got to start feeling a little bit better, seeing a lot of pitches from the opposition, and finally starting to hit the ball all over. And now we're seeing the same thing this year. His average is up to 240-something right now, and eventually, at the end, we're going to see him hitting 290, 300, no question.
Here is Prince Fielder, who has doubled and was hit by a pitch.
Hey,
JJ fires a strike.
Rich, Tommy, were you guys surprised that the answer to the trivia question that it did not include Paul Molitor in there?
I had Molitor as one of my guesses. I did go with Robin Yount, but Molitor would have been a good choice. A little surprised, yeah.
I don't want to boast, but I had Ryan Braun pegged.
I had it too. But I did say that Molitor, I was a bit surprised that it wasn't three, instead of just two guys.
I think the Brewers were a little bit, probably suffering a little bit of small market-itis at that point too, in getting, even though Molitor and Yount were big names and they got to the World Series, still, where was Molitor? Was Molitor a third baseman at that point?
At that time, he was, yeah.
Third or second.
So
yeah.
he's got to beat out George Brett, and that's you always got to look at who's in the league at that position.
Then he started to DH a lot.
Definitely.
That's true. What happens too with the Phillies is they have a full stadium every day, and they have a sold out the rest of the season. Of course, you're going to see more of the Phillies, trying to get into the starting role.
Hey, they even have 3 road games at home this year. Those 3 games against Toronto.
Right.
That's true.
The one thing that I'm against, though, is Rolling should not be leading, because there's a lot of guys that are doing a better job right now. He hasn't been playing all year. How come he could be the starting shortstop for the All-Star game? I don't agree with that.
Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree with you there too, Cookie.
Those things have a way of working themselves out, I think.
That is very true.
Especially now with the internet voting. There's a little more equality in that.
A little conversation, by the way, going on between Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire, and the Marlins bench.
All right, guys. Good work on the trivia question.
Have a safe trip, guys,
hey,
and bring some
will.
wins.
All right, stay in touch.
Can we call you guys if we get into the 6th inning of a game on the road?
Absolutely.
All right. Press the SAP button on your phone, and Cookie and Raul will appear.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good trip, guys. You too.
Do you have a SAP button on your phone?
No, but you have an app for that on your phone. 3-1 to Fielder.
We got to be careful with this pitch.
He has such an extreme uppercut when he swings.
He truly does have that home run swing, but he's also a guy who is going to hit close to 300, 280 to 300. He's not just an all-or-nothing guy. Those are his career stats now in his 6th year.
Always has a very good on-base percentage. runner on the move.
Watch the action on the swing last night with his home run.
I mean, that's the Men of Steel softball swing. Those guys that have the exhibition softball home run hitting contest.
You talk about a base in the lower half generating some power.
Braun's running again. And it's taken inside. So runners first and second with one out. Next Family Sunday is on the 20th. Marlins and Rays, a 1:10 start. You can celebrate Father's Day at the ballpark. First 5,000 dads get a Marlins golf set courtesy of Preferred Care Partners. Play catch with Dad on the field after the game. 1-877 Marlins. Most definitely a guy that can tie it up with one swing. And he's been doing a lot of that lately.
The Marlins have turned a couple of unique and one of them very spectacular double plays. And that's what Josh Johnson would like to get here. He's at 90 pitches. I'm sure Freddie would like to see him get through this inning and possibly the 7th inning, but he's going to have to limit the pitches in this one.
Ball and a strike. He's got 2-1 on Corey Hart. Braun, a one-out single. Fielder walked. JJ gets a strike there, and it's 2-2.
After the breaking ball, let's see where he comes back on this 2-2 pitch. You know, amazingly, with the big swing that Corey Hart has, big strike zone, he struck out just 32 times this year. 33 counting the one tonight.
He's a real unique player, Tommy. And he's tall and lean, but he's got good speed. There's the home run rate this year, and Hart atop that list.
He almost reminds you of a Jason Worth before he really turned things around. And so you got to look out for a guy like Corey Hart. Right back with a breaking ball.
Big strikeout.
There are times it's really nice to have that weapon, and that was the changeup. That's not at all what Corey Hart was looking for. Not only was it a changeup, it was a good changeup as far as location.
8 strikeouts for JJ. Gomez. Here's a guy that's only 24, and yet he's been involved in 2 pretty big trades. He was one of the key pieces that the Mets sent to the Twins in the Johan Santana trade. No swing. And then, as we told you earlier, with Alcides Escobar emerging at shortstop, the Brewers got Gomez when they sent their other shortstop, their ex-shortstop, J.J. Hardy, to the Twins. That's how Gomez got back to the National League. High pop, Hanley's out there. And he makes the catch. And Josh Johnson is through 6. 3-0. That's the ride that Josh Johnson is on right now. 3-0. Marlins on top of the Brewers. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, a lot of bachelor parties here tonight. This one, though, has come a long way. Where are you guys from?
Manchester, England.
All the way from England. And it is Matthew to my right here who's getting married in July. And you decided to come to South Florida for your bachelor party.
That's correct, yeah. To have a good time and get drunk.
What about baseball? Not an English. No one plays baseball in England, do they?
No, we play rounders.
Rounders? That was a good movie. What's that?
It's like baseball, but for girls.
Now, you play... What? You know the rules from... How do you know the rules of baseball? From a video?
PlayStation. Xbox and PlayStation.
So what do you know about baseball? Tell me a few things. How many outs?
3 outs per inning, per team.
That's pretty good. You got... What's your baseball knowledge?
3 strikes and you're out. Very limited. That's about it, yeah.
All right, who's going to win the USA-England game coming up on June 12th, the World Cup? I'm sure you know a lot about soccer.
We'll go for a draw. First game, we'll settle for a draw.
Oh, is that right? You guys won't believe this, but ESPN London is actually taking our broadcast tonight. Live. So you are live in London. So say hi. Is your fiancée there?
No, she's on her hen party.
Well, she's at a party. Because if you said we're going to a baseball game, she may not have believed you, but this is proof.
It is proof, yeah. Yeah, she won't believe us.
All right. Well, good to see you guys. And you said why you come to Miami?
Because I heard that because I heard the Marlins are the best team.
All right. I love the accents, guys. And he's got the Marlins hat there. You wear it proudly, all right? All right, guys, back to you. A lot of bachelor parties, including this one. Happy to be here from London.
I love it. It looked like a couple of those guys got a deal on those shirts, 2 for 1.
Did I miss?
I got to ask him. That's true. That's a great. Did you get the 2 for 1 for shirts?
No, we're just doing a bit of a. We're just doing a bit. Yeah, come here.
Wait, was it? Did you call each other? How did this happen?
No, we're just doing a bit of a twins theme.
I'm like a Russian doll. They open me up and I come out.
What a bachelor party!
These guys
that
are
be.
great.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, send them up to the booth. These guys are terrific.
It's not, oh, that's great.
Here's a 2-2 to Cody Ross. And he sends one to left field deep. Braun is there and makes the catch. I don't remember reading copy for bachelor party night at the ballpark.
No, I don't remember reading that. I think it's just been a coincidence. And Craig has gotten invitations for both of them. He'll be leaving us shortly after the postgame.
Here's Ronnie Paulino. Cameron Lowe in the ball game for the Milwaukee Brewers, and he's been in since the 4th when Chris Capuano ran out of gas. Lowe throws that heavy sinker. But he's done a nice job.
Yeah, he's been just what the doctor ordered for Ken Maka and his ball club.
Counsell. 2 outs. Florida State NCAA regional baseball action. You can watch it all weekend exclusively on Sun Sports and Fox Sports Florida. Coverage begins Friday on foxsportsflorida.com with a live stream of the Gators opening game against Bethune-Cookman. For additional game telecast information, visit foxsportsflorida.com. Aren't Brian Barden's Oregon State Beavers in that region?
They're in the they're in the one in Gainesville, along with FAU, and of course the nice story here with FIU in the regional with Miami. So a lot of teams to root for if you live in Florida.
Brett Carroll muscles one into left field. If you're looking for a game this weekend, this is the Coral Gables Regional. We showed you on Marlins Live the Garrett Whittles story that's an amazing story. Not only is he's got the hitting streak of 54 games, but Frank Fort unearthed the fact that he has extended that streak 7 times in his last at-bat. He's 7 for 7 in last at-bats during that streak.
And not that he's superstitious, but he's not gotten a haircut either since the streak began. So he's hit in every game this year that FIU has played.
He extended it in that Sun Belt tournament. FIU won the Sun Belt tournament. He had a 9th inning double in one of those games to extend the streak with 2 outs. It was a little more comfortable at bat for JJ than Capuano was. Weeks flips to first in time, and the Marlins are done in the 6th. We played 6. 3-0. Cam. Great counsel. How about Craig Counsell? Let's freeze something. There it is. Look at that. Full extension. Had the glove up. Weeks made the pivot. Frostbrewed Coors Light freeze can.
That was a spectacular play.
Josh Johnson goes to work now here in the 7th. Now Sades Escobar.
You know how Josh Johnson has just learned and developed so much as a pitcher. Last inning, he probably threw as good a changeup as he has all game, and it got him out of a couple of jams. He struck hard out with the changeup, and he got the fly ball or the pop fly by Gomez on a changeup.
Cantu. That's called getting in front of it and taking one for the team. That's painful.
That's what you can do at third base, because you know if you knock it down, it's gotten to you quick enough, you can still make the play. This ball was stung. Cantu just knocks it down, picks it up, and fires over to first to get the out.
Jonathan Lucroy, the catcher, up now for the Brewers.
Boy, it's really been impressive, and it just shows the maturity of Josh Johnson, how he's, remember that first inning, he was throwing really hard. That cutter or slider was about 91, 92. As the game's progressed, he's kind of mixed and matched. He's adjusted. He's used the changeup more.
Liner into left, a base hit.
Yeah, hung a slider there.
So the Brewers have a base runner. Marlins bullpen is in action, and we're out of here. Our Mercedes-Benz road ahead. Mets tomorrow night. Big Fox on Saturday. Mets on Sunday. And then it's on to Philadelphia. Hensley and Wood.
The Mets will have a little revenge on their mind after being swept in that 4-game series here.
Inglet pinch hitting. Now Inglet played his college ball at the University of Nevada. Lined it into right center field. Brett Carroll cuts it off. Inglet will be held to a single. It's a nice play by BC. But it does bring the tying run to the plate in Ricky Weeks.
You know, that's one of those plays that goes down as a non-play. I mean, you don't get an assist, you don't get a put out. But by getting over and cutting that ball off, a lot of outfielders don't get there that quickly, don't have that kind of arm. If not, Inglet, who has pretty good speeds at second base. This way, Marlins keep the double play in order.
Number 23, second baseman, Ricky Weeks.
Dave Bush is going to come out and run for Inglet.
No, Inglet must have some kind of leg injury, because there would be no other reason to run Dave Bush.
Two strikeouts tonight for Weeks. JJ also got him in the first. Drive to left and deep. Coughlin there makes the catch. It's going to score a run. Lucroy comes across. Brewers on the board. And there are 2 outs.
Well, it's been a while since a team has scored an earned run against Josh Johnson.
31 innings. And now here is Counsell, who is 1 for 3. Bush at first. Counsell 39, and proof that when a guy gets to be 37, 38, or even in the 40s, we've seen this, guys like Moyer, you have a couple of bad years, people say, you know what, Craig, it's time to hang him up. And in 2007, he hit 220. 2008, he hit 226.
And the age thing started coming out.
Last year, he played in 130 games. He hit 285 and made just 5 errors.
Well, we've seen the kind of defense he has by that play, that double play that he started a couple of innings ago.
Outside corner.
And he's still taken aback when he sees his picture out there on the left center field wall, representing the 97 World Series.
There's a great timeline to that wall, starting in 93. And it starts with Charlie Huff throwing out the first pitch. And then if you go to your right, then you get Counsell, a world championship, Beckett in Yankee Stadium.
Game 6 shutout. New ballpark, 2012.
3-2. That's not been a comfortable spot for the security guy down there tonight.
He had no place to go either.
Yeah. Inside. He lost him. Now, you've got Josh Johnson, Ryan Braun, Freddie pacing.
The key is that you'd love to see Josh get through this inning. Then you have Clay Hensley for the 8th. And I think it comes down to he had Tim Wood warming up, but he'd rather have Hensley start the 8th inning instead of extending him to get 4 outs instead of 3. So he's going with J.J. against Braun.
And, of course, this has been the spot that the Marlins have really struggled with, the 7th inning. If the starter doesn't get through the 7th, it's finding that bridge to get to Hensley.
And these last few pitches that Josh throws are going to have to be good ones to Ryan Braun.
Prince Fielder is next. Braun hits a ground ball in the hole. Hanley on to second in time to get the out. Brewers get a run. JJ's through 7. Fish lead 3-1. Lead Super Saturday, Baker Concrete Super Saturday, always includes a post-game concert, fireworks, giveaways, autograph sessions, and more. Upcoming concerts include Sergio Vargas with Millie Quezada on June 19th. OAR will be here on the 26th, 1877 Marlin. Josh Johnson on his way off in between innings.
Nice reception in the dugout. High five.
Watch this. He was not happy giving up that run.
Nah, he didn't want to give it up. And that's the kind of competitor he is. That's what you want to see in every pitcher. Zach Braddock, left-hander, now will begin the 7th inning, and I'm sure the Brewers are happy with the performance of Cameron Lowe in his 2 1/3 innings. Gave up just 2 hits, no runs.
Chris Capuano started and went 3 2/3. He gave up the 3 runs. And Braddock comes in to face Chris Coghlan, who was 1 for 2. It's been a very nice homestand and a very good series for Coghlan. I think at the start of the homestand, Tommy, there were a lot of newspaper columns and talk shows all asking the question, goes down when Mike Stanton gets here, and by all accounts, that's a week or maybe less away. And I think Chris Coughlin has shown on this homestand it isn't going to be him.
Well, I think he's shown that the Marlins need him at the top of the order getting on base.
Coughlin lines it into left field. That's a base hit.
See, now early in the year, the left fielder, whoever it might have been, would have charged and made a shoestring catch. So things just have a way of working out.
And I'll tell you what, along the same lines, Cameron Maybin has played well lately as well.
Yes, he has. That's why I said the other night it's going to be a tough decision, whatever decision is made by the Marlins.
Gabby Sanchez now. Gabby fouls it back.
Everybody in the lineup tonight, with the exception of JJ, with at least one base hit. So, again, it's being spread around.
Zach Braddock made his Major League debut in late May. And the lefty fires a strike. Quickly, it's 0-2.
A lot of fastballs and sliders from Braddock. He was throwing well in AAA. Batters were hitting just $185 off.
Tonight, the Brewers started Chris Capuano, who has had 2 Tommy John surgeries. Zach Braddock had Tommy John surgery while in high school at Gloucester Catholic High in New Jersey. Went on to attend Burlington County College. Was an 18th round pick.
The sad note is that is happening more and more. The young kids, teenagers, all the throwing, breaking balls. You're seeing a lot more Tommy John surgeries on high school and college kids.
As somebody that runs the Tommy Hutton Baseball Academy, is it because of the change in not just baseball but all youth athletics, the specialization of AAU teams and travel teams?
That's most of it is there. You have kids who just play one sport, so they're just playing baseball, and of course here they can play it all year round, and sometimes that's too many games, especially if you're pitching.
Gabby got a hanging breaking ball, and he puts it into left field. Marlins have gone single against Braddock here in the 7th. Tonight's Cabot Woodstain, legendary performer, Carlos Tosca. Blue Jay manager back in 2002. Was given the job as the skipper of the Toronto Blue Jays, and actually had a pretty good run in Toronto.
Well, he had a Cy Young pitcher in Roy Halladay in 2003. And I was talking to Carlos before the game about the whole situation in Detroit with Jim Joyce, and he was one of the first ones who told me Jim Joyce has a great reputation amongst players and managers as being a top umpire.
Hanley swings and misses. And Carlos Tosca guided Toronto to a couple of third-place finishes in the American League East and was above 500 in both of the seasons in which he managed. He was fired in 2004, and his ball club at that point was 20 under and in 5th place. His first 2 years, very respectable.
I know you and I enjoy our opportunities, whenever they might be, in the clubhouse, around the batting cage, on the team charter, to talk a little baseball with Los.
And certainly a guy that did not have the highest of payrolls in Toronto to work with, not all the resources that other managers have around baseball, and a guy that, as I just noted, in 2 of his 3 years was above 500 in the American League East. You would hope somewhere down the line he would get another chance to manage in the big leagues.
And I think he's been tremendous, and Freddie would be the first to tell you, to be the bench coach for Freddie Gonzalez. And Freddie, one of the first things he wanted to have was a guy like Los alongside of him on the bench.
Tosca was on Bob Melvin's staff in Arizona when Freddie got the job here. And he went to Bob Melvin and said, look, he said, Freddie and I have been best of friends ever since we were both managers in the Marlins organization. Remember, Freddie and Carlos Tosca were in the stadium in '97 when the Marlins won the World Championship because they were both managing in the minor leagues for the Marlins. One, two. Hanley swings and misses.
Yeah. Carlos Tosca managing the Gulf Coast Marlins, Kane County in Double-A in Portland for a few years. Yeah, this is just a fastball from Braddock, the young left-hander.
Here comes Cantu now, who has doubled in 3 trips. Coughlin and Gabby Sanchez open the inning with singles. And Braddock will step off. Coughlin going nowhere. Cantu hasn't driven in a run tonight, and that's surprising because he's driven in 6 already in this series.
El Jorge doubled in the 4th inning, his 17th double of the year.
Looks like a high strike. 0-1.
Noticed a couple of games, his old buddy from their Devil Ray days, Johnny Gomes, has had some big games for Cincinnati.
I keep hearing Tom Brenneman going nuts about Johnny Gomes, the pride of Petaluma.
And we know they're the Rays. We just mentioned Devil Rays because that's what they were when they were teammates.
And you talked to both Cantu and Gomes, we have this year, about their time with Tampa Bay. And they talk about some of the good young players that came through there. They just never could get a pitching staff, a rotation, the type that they have now.
Now they got a dandy staff now, and one of those young pitchers, David Price, beat Toronto last night in Toronto, 8 innings. Gave up 2 runs, no earned runs.
Clay Hensley has staked out his spot as he gets ready for the 8th. Marlins would like to add on here. Zach Braddock out in front of Cantu, 1-2. There's your Fox tracks. That was a strike. Two coming. Cantu drills it center field. Gomez back. He'll have room. And he'll make the catch. Coughlin's going to tag. And he races into third base. So Jorge barreled it up pretty well. And it's going to be up to Uggla now if the Marlins are going to cash in. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. Counts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the fish. Rick Peterson, pitching coach of the Milwaukee Brewers, on his way out to the mound. We will see the old pitching coach of the Milwaukee Brewers when the Texas Rangers get here,
Mike Maddox.
Yes.
Very well respected in working with pitchers, and the Texas Rangers, not only do they have an unbelievable offense, but the Rangers have a one-game lead over Oakland, and they've done a lot of that with some good pitching, too.
And they have a guy at the top of their organization, at least it sounds like he will be at the top of their organization if the sale is ever completed. Nolan Ryan, who has kind of changed the theory on starters and pitch counts and all of that with the Rangers now at the big league level, but in their minor league system.
He'll stay on top of that pitching situation.
Uggla 2 hits and a strikeout. He's driven in a run. Has a double. Coughlin and Sanchez.
A lot of day games around baseball today. Yankees won their game against Baltimore. CC Sabathia picked up the win.
Orioles may have a new manager by the time the Marlins see them.
Wow.
In a couple weeks. We were talking about that Houston-Washington game earlier. I turned it off after Matt Lindstrom had blown the save at the top of the ninth. What I wasn't expecting to hang around for was another blown save by Matt Capps of the Nationals, as Houston got 3 in the bottom of the ninth and won it 6-4. Runner goes. The Marlins had that play on, Tommy.
Yeah, it was a little late for Gabby. He went a little bit late because Braddock had already started his delivery to the plate.
Watch this. If he goes to first...
Yeah, look at Coughlin over third.
Coughlin was coming home. Uggla swings and misses. So Cameron Lowe and Zach Braddock out of the bullpen have kept the Marlins at 3 runs. Enter Clay Hensley, 3-1 pitch. Brian Barton's going to stay in the ball game at third base. Jorge Cantu is going to scoot across the diamond to first. And you saw him hanging out on the rail. Clay Hensley.
Yeah, he's ready. Once he gets to that rail, he's throwing enough pitches in the bullpen because, as he said, and we were talking about it the other night, he knows he's going to get 8 more out there. How about Josh Johnson? 12 starts this year. In 7 of his 12 starts, he's given up 1 earned run or less.
3 walks, 8 strikeouts for JJ. Hensley comes in and he gets Prince Fielder, Corey Hart, and Carlos Gomez. Remember, the Brewers have Casey McGee in reserve, one of the top RBI men in the National League. There's the changeup. It's 2-0.
And Josh, by the way, brings his ERA down to 2.10.
Hensley comes out and throws 3 balls to Prince Fielder. That's a strike.
About to flip the bat away.
And he was right. Although Hensley should have had a strike on his second pitch. So it all evens out. 3-1. Here comes Corey Hart.
Number 1, right fielder Corey Hart.
Our audio man in the truck is one of the best in baseball, Mark Butler. So good that on occasion he'll pick up something on the field that we don't necessarily want you to hear. So we apologize that Mark is so good. There's a strike.
If he wasn't so good, we wouldn't have that problem.
That's right. It's all Mark's fault. But the walk obviously puts Hensley in a spot where one swing and the lead could disappear. Now Hart is upset.
Yeah, and you have a guy up there who leads the league in home runs with 14. So he's had both hitters in this inning, Fielder and now Hart. Now where it came over the plate, I'm sure that's a strike. Yeah, we've seen that ever since we've been following Fox Tracks. We've showed you that pitch that sometimes appears a little low. It's where it crosses the plate.
Popped him up. Hart may have a few more things to say to Eric Cooper.
Yeah, he might not be done.
And again, Fox tracks the baseball at the exact point an umpire is supposed to judge the baseball, and that's the front of home plate. So by the time it gets to the catcher's glove, and even with the hitter in the very back of the box, by the time it crosses the hitter, it's front of the plate.
And the other thing that we show you, that box adjusts to the hitter's side. So Corey Hart, a tall guy, it makes the adjustment.
Hensley now with a count 0-1 on Carlos Gomez. Our Toyota trend in relief, most strikeouts. Hensley is right up there. Carlos Marmol, much to Tommy's delight, having a terrific year.
Tyler Clippard up there, he's pitched in every game. He did pitch in that game today for the Nationals. He's gotten a little help down there, though.
Yeah, Drew Storen is in town. Steven Strasburg will arrive on the 8th.
June 8th against the Pirates. And I understand from what I heard, that is already a sellout.
It should be.
Nationals Park, yeah, and it should be.
It should be. And circle these dates on your calendar. The 16th, 17th, and 18th of July, when the Nationals come here. That's right after the All-Star break. You could see a Strasburg-Stanton showdown.
Yeah, it's a weekend series.
It's a series you don't want to miss.
That's right.
Oh, gorgeous breaking ball. And now Gomez barks his disapproval.
I think he was just fooled so badly that he didn't get a good look up. Watch him lock up on this curveball.
Fox track.
I guarantee it's going to show it's a strike.
Oh, Fox Track's malfunctioned on that one.
But it was because of where it crossed the plate.
That was Tommy Trax. Alcides Escobar is 1 for 3. It's almost like Hensley has had this pattern in his last few appearances. He'll come in, and the first hitter, he'll walk a guy, and you heard him. Suddenly, he just gets so fired up at himself. There's an extra shot of adrenaline, and he kicks into gear. Little chopper into right field. That's a base hit. Escobar got it up and over Cantu's head. The young catcher is due up. Jonathan LaCroix. And he is coming up with runners at first and second.
Yeah, you have. It's again, a decision for Maka. He's got the left-handed hitter, George Kataris, who hit a home run as he broke his bat. He also has Jim Edmonds, but he's going to stay with LaCroix.
I'm a little surprised that we at least don't see Kataris.
Kataris, a left-handed hitter, because he's not going to see a left-handed pitcher.
And you have a guy in reserve that can catch in an emergency, and that's Casey McGee. Edmonds is on deck. You're going to need another pinch hitter with the pitcher due up next. But LaCroix singled in the 7th. Breaking ball, soft line drive. Cody Ross is out there, and he makes the catch. A scoreless 8 for Clay Hensley. And the Marlins hang on to that 3-1 lead. How about the Fish bouncing back? And Josh Johnson being, well, Josh Johnson going 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, some big hits. Marlins had him early. Ronnie Polito with an RBI double. Dan Uggla sending home a run. A little more JJ. Our Jaguar performance of the night. Clay Hensley, a scoreless 8th. So here we are in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Marlins trying to take 3 of 4 from the Brewers before heading to New York and then Philadelphia and then St. Pete's. And it's Trevor Hoffman who takes over, the embattled closer of the Brewers. Look at the earned run average. Some would say because of his age, that's not a surprise, but he's 42. When he was 41, he was one of the best in the National League, and that was last year. He was 37 of 41 in save opportunities, and in 55 appearances, his ERA was a sterling 1.83.
And look at that, 596, so just 4 away from a number that I think a lot of people thought would never be touched, 600 saves.
It was a great moment in this series when Jeff Conine interviewed Trevor Hoffman. That one is hammered into left field. Cody Ross singles to open up the 8th inning. You have a guy in Jeff Conine who won 2 world championships, was an all-star MVP. You have Trevor Hoffman, a guy that is headed to the Hall of Fame. And both of them were failures coming out of college at their respective positions.
That's right.
Conine was a pitcher at UCLA. And I think his pitching coach was a guy named, is it Guy Hansen?
Guy Hansen, yes.
Who was also employed by the Kansas City Royals. And Guy Hansen convinced the Royals that there's this athlete at UCLA. He's not such a great pitcher, but I think he'd be a terrific position player, maybe an outfielder, maybe first baseman. He's a great racquetball player, by the way. It's Jeff Conine, and so the Royals say, all right, we'll draft him. Why not? Then you got Hoffman, who's a shortstop at the University of Arizona who can't hit. But scouts see that he has a terrific arm, and they say, hey, kid, you want to try pitching? And it worked out for both of them. Changeup misses down low. It's 1-2. Now, you pointed out...
That's where he needs to miss with it, by the way. When he missed to Cody Ross, he missed up with it.
You pointed out at the start of the series what you've seen from Hoffman. His difficulties are location.
Yeah, the perfect example, the pitch to Cody. And there isn't as much... There isn't as much separation of fastball and changeup as there once was.
Molino slams his bat. Here's a look.
Here's the changeup. From that angle, this is a better angle. Let's see if Ronnie went after it. And it almost looks more like it there than from that other angle.
Brett Carroll with Ross at first. Hoffman, of course, 16 years with the San Diego Padres. And a strike. And I know it's dramatic when Mariano Rivera comes in at Yankee Stadium, but I think Hoffman's entrance in San Diego, and they've kept it alive in Milwaukee, I think.
None better.
Thank you.
None better. In San Diego, it was great theater.
Because they always timed the opening of the door with the Hell's Bells, the first gong of the bell.
Yeah, that's right when the door opened. You know, when you think of Trevor Hoffman and the way he throws now, there was a pitcher, and I just looked because I knew he was with Milwaukee. I wasn't sure. And he pitched the last couple of years throwing this way and had success. Doug Jones, right-handed.
Great changeup.
Great changeup, and it got a little tougher as his fastball lost velocity. But he hung around a few years.
2-2 to Brett Carroll. That's down low. So maybe right now in the draft room up in Jupiter, Jim Fleming and Stan Meek are looking for shortstops who can't hit or pitchers who don't have great stuff but are pretty good hitters. Maybe they'll find a Jeff Conine or a Trevor Hoffman in there. Runner goes.
Well, and to go along with what Jim Fleming told us earlier, you try to draft athletes. And certainly Jeff Conine, an athlete. And it worked out perfectly. Learned how to make all kinds of adjustments.
If you don't know anything about Mike Stanton, and you really haven't followed that except that you know he's a great prospect.
He's an athlete, too.
He is an athlete. And we were talking about travel baseball and AAU teams and all of that. He did not do that growing up in Southern California. The 3-2. Cody's running, swing and a miss. The throw down to second, and Ross is in there with a stolen base. Hoffman has a couple of strikeouts.
Well, Cody just running, not necessarily to steal a base, but to maybe try to stay out of a double play. But after the strikeout, he got a decent jump and stayed on the bag. Picks up stolen base number 3.
Mike Lamb now. He goes after the first pitch and pops it up. Fielder comes in. Calls for it, makes the play. Trevor Hoffman works a scoreless 8th. Leo Nunez coming in for the 9th. And Leo Nunez has been entrusted with that. Nunez enters in the 9-1-2 spot of the Brewers order, and that'll bring a pinch hitter to the plate. There's Nunez and his numbers. We do the introductions properly. And the pinch hitter is veteran Jim Edmonds. Nunez throws up a changeup.
His changeup has so much movement, and when you're a pinch hitter, that's a tough pitch, the first pitch, because you're up there, Jack, you're ready for a good fastball. You know that Nunez throws 95, and he drops in that good changeup.
Ball and a strike. Nunez appeared on Tuesday night, picked up save number 11. That was a Ricky Nolasco win. Trying to ensure a win for Josh Johnson and move JJ to 6-2. 7 innings, 1 earned run, 7 hits, and 8 strikeouts for Josh Johnson. His ERA down to 2.10. Hensley handled the 8th. Nunez trying to get the first out of the 9th. Fox Tracks had it as a strike. But of course, it's easy to sit here and watch on Fox Track instead of standing behind the catcher and watching the ball come in at 95, or a changeup with great movement that's darting all over the place. Different strike zones, catchers moving. I think, Tommy, if you asked every umpire in Major League Baseball if he would be in favor of instant replay, to some extent expanded from where it is now, I'll bet you the majority of them would say yes.
I totally agree with you, yeah.
Ball in the air. Ugla. And Hanley calls Ugla off and makes the catch. And Ugla says, all right, you want it, you get it.
Yeah, I heard an interview today, actually, Rich, with Don Denkinger, who had that missed call in 1985. And he said the exact same thing. He said, you don't want to see it lengthen games, but, bring on replay if it's going to change things and help things.
Earlier tonight, I talked about that Sports Illustrated poll of Major League players to rate the best umpires in baseball and the worst umpires. The best umpire, according to that poll, Tim McClellan. And remember, he had the 2 miscues last year in the postseason. And his comments were along the lines of, all we want to do is get the call right. He felt awful about it. The second best umpire, as voted on by the players, Jim Joyce. A little too much movement there for Ricky Weeks' taste.
And this is such a game of human element, and that's what you don't want to see lost and leave the game.
You don't want to see the continuity of the game taken out. But if the technology is in place, and it is in terms of home runs and all of that, and it can be done quickly, Leo Nunez buries that changeup down low. It's 1-2. If it can be done quickly, Tommy, the one thing we've seen with the home run replay call is that once they look at it and there's a definitive look, there's no argument.
Yeah, it's been 2, 3, 4 minutes tops.
Little tapper, Barden, cross the diamond, safe. Weeks beat it.
Another element of Ricky Weeks' game. We talked about his leadoff ability to hit a home run. Yes, he strikes out a little bit, but he can run. Brian Barton does everything just right there. He circles the ball, got off a good throw, strong throw, got a nice stretch from Jorge Cantu, and Weeks just beat it.
Here now is Counsell. Nunez with a strike. Craig Counsell has 1 home run this year. Change up, 0-2.
The other thing that I think for hitters that's tough to pick up when Nunez comes to the plate, he's a little herky-jerky with his delivery and has great arm action with the fastball and changeup.
Remember in spring training, Randy St. Clair spotted a flaw that Nunez was tipping his pitches. And you wonder how much of that dates back to last year. How many of the 7 saves that he blew, remember the home runs he allowed? He allowed 13 home runs last year.
Which is way too many.
Tied for first in the National League with Kevin Gregg. You wonder if that was an issue last year.
And it's something that I know Randy has told me, Freddie's told me, that they have to really keep their eye on and continue to remind Leo about.
A liner into center field, Counsell. The Brewers now with runners first and second and 1 out. And now Nunez is really going to have to bear down. Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder coming up.
Yep, that changeup hung up in the zone. Watch this. Stays up there. Counsell puts a good swing on it. He has the ability to do electrifying things late in games.
Counsell, that is.
Counsell, yes. As he did here on this diamond in 1997.
So here's Braun. He has singled in 4 trips, has also lined into a double play. You got very good speed out there right now. Weeks, and importantly for Milwaukee, the trail runner, Counsell.
This is where he has to be careful in throwing too many changeups.
Caught the corner with that changeup. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
That ball moved back. Just gets that outside corner.
That's going to be foul.
Need to sneak that fastball there just to give the hitter a different look. So that was a good pitch, that fastball.
Ryan Braun last year hit 32 home runs. Prince Fielder hit 46. Those are the 2 outs that Nunez needs to get to nail down this win. One, two. That was somewhere in between the changeup and the fastball at 90 miles an hour.
Hey, I think that was a changeup that he overthrew.
Casey McGee, another potent bat that Ken Maka has on his bench. But he's got the big bats up right now. 2-2 coming. Broke his bat, and the bat almost hit Weeks on his way to third.
Look at the barrel of the bat is in shallow left field. That's how far that bat went. And this was with a changeup. He got in on it.
I think Weeks wishes he had Fox Exmo vision, because the bat flying at him was at a much more rapid pace. New bat, same count, 2-2. Stays at 2-2. Ricky Weeks, a 1-out single. Craig Counsell caught up with a changeup, drilled it into center field.
And Leo Nunez facing a tough guy. We talk about Jorge Cantu, over 400 runners in scoring position. Ryan Braun came into this game 400 runners in scoring position.
21 pitches already for Nunez in the ninth. And his 22nd is way out of the strike zone. Freddie Gonzalez, Carlos Tosca, Randy St. Clair.
I think the pitch he feels most comfortable with right now is his changeup.
Just don't leave one out over the plate.
That was it.
His changeup is the same speed and action as many guys' sinkers. That's like a Derek Lowe sinker coming in at 90, 89.
High 80s.
Yeah.
High 80s, yeah.
Three and two. Broke his bat, little looper, left field. It falls in front of Coughlin. Weeks will score. Counsell stops at second. Ryan Braun wins the battle. The Marlins still have the lead, but it's down to a run, and here comes trouble in Prince Fielder.
Not only does he possess that power, this was the changeup again that got in on him, but he's a tough guy to strike out. And he had a great at bat battling Leo Nunez. Didn't hit it well, but dropped it in front of Coughlin. And now the Brewers have their best hitter up there, and he's even smiling about that ball that he dropped in there.
Coors Light cold hard blast. You want to see what Prince Fielder could do to an errant fastball?
Well, we talked about it at the very beginning, Rich, the lineup that Milwaukee has. And to face in this inning with Braun, now Fielder, and after Fielder's Corey Hart. He leads the National League in home runs.
The Marlins have not been able to get Fielder out tonight. Doubled, hit by a pitch, walked twice. 1-0. That's a strike. Now, see, Fielder wants an appeal.
It almost sounded like a foul tip, though.
Well, it's real close. very similar to the Paulino call. Paulino's was called a swing. One pitch. In the air left field, Coughlin makes the catch, counsels back to second. And so if you're Leo Nunez, you get Prince Fielder, and your reward is you go after the home run leader in the National League in Corey Hart. Hart is 0 for 3, and all of those 0-fers are strikeouts.
And a good base runner at second base in Craig Counsell.
Strike one called. Remember his last at bat, Hart had words with Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire. He's out in front of him 0-2. This hasn't been an easy night for either of the Marlin relievers. Clay Hensley had a couple of base runners. He got out of the 8th without giving up a run. Nunez has given up 3 hits this inning and a run. Counsell and Braun are out there. He got him! Ball game! Marlins win it. Leo Nunez. It wasn't easy. A save's a save. A win is a win. The Marlins take 3 of 4 from the Brewers in this series, and they will head to New York, a game over 500. A nice win tonight for the Fish. 3-2. They beat the Milwaukee Brewers. 3 runs, 12 hits for the Fish. 2 runs, 11 hits, and an error for the Brewers. We wrap it up after this.